A few days ago, someone emailed the story to me. This is why I say violence doesn't solve problems. It makes matters worse unless it's self-defense. This story is called "Wife Was Caught Cheating." I got arrested. I am 42 and my ex-wife is 43. I met my wife 16 years ago at a work-related function. She didn't work for our company. She was an insurance representative for another company. We were doing business with. We started dating shortly after that. After about 2 years of dating, I proposed and we got married. We had a beautiful wedding and life couldn't be better. We were blessed with 2 children, a boy and a girl. We had our kids before we got married. Everything was perfect until about 5 years ago when my wife started acting strange. She would go out with the girls a lot. She was working late more often and she just seemed distant. I initiated a conversation with her one day and told her I noticed she wasn't acting like her normal self and that I was worried about her. She told me she was just stressed a little from work after all. She was an insurance representative for her company and I kind of understood where she was coming from. Her insurance job was mostly performance-based. Things went back to normal for a little while. At least we would still have our date nights and hang out with our kids on the weekends. They are teenagers now. So they are more independent, but we were still able to convince them to hang out with their parents every so often. Fast forward a couple of months. And I noticed my wife is starting to be way more distant than normal and not wanting to participate in anything with me. I again asked her if everything was okay and this time, her response was not pleasant. She told me I was being paranoid and that I needed to stop asking her what was wrong. I didn't want to upset her more. So I left it at that even though I knew something wasn't right. So as time goes on, her behavior didn't change much, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want to start an argument. One night when we were all home watching a movie, my wife was on our phone not paying attention to the movie and I asked her to please put her phone away because I wanted her to watch the movie. She got mad at me and told me I was being ridiculous and that I needed to leave her alone even though her daughter blurted out, "Please mom, watch the movie." Only then is when she put her phone away and she looked like she was pissed off after that. After that night, my attitude changed toward my wife. I don't know why, but it did. I started to be distant myself because I knew something was going on with her. I just didn't know what it was. I'm a fairly tall guy. 63 in decent shape and my wife is 56 and she is in good shape as well. A couple of weeks ago I came home from work early because I had to take my daughter to the dentist. My daughter tells me that her mom was in the bathroom one night on the phone whispering, and when my daughter asked her mom who she was talking to, she told her it was nobody and that she needed to go back to bed. My daughter also told me that she heard her mom say something about meeting somebody. So now I am suspicious about what is going on with my wife. When I got home after my daughter's dentist appointment, I started snooping on the computer but I couldn't find anything. And when my wife got home, I did not confront her about what my daughter told me. A few days later, I came home from work and as usual, went to the computer and this time I found an email from my wife to somebody else. And in that email, she was talking about how she was unhappy in our marriage and that she wanted to leave me. She deleted the email, but she forgot to delete the email from the trash folder. She also said something about meeting up with this person, but I couldn't see who it was because the email address was blocked. So now I know for sure that my wife is cheating on me, but I don't know who he is or what to do about it. At the moment, I thought about confronting her, but I decided against it because I didn't want to give off any clues that I knew what she was up to. Another week goes by. And even though I have acted a little indifferent towards my wife, she hasn't said anything to me about my behavior towards her. So with that said, I told a good friend of mine about what my suspicions are and he says that I should put a tracking device on her car so I can see where she goes when she leaves the house. I told him I didn't want to do all of that. And he then says, "Well, how you get proof that she is possibly cheating on you?" I said, "I don't know, but I would think of something." So as time passes, my sleep quality fails and I feel I am more irritable because of the suspicions I have of my wife right now. I just can't seem to shake them. I also feel like I am losing my mind because of all of this, but I have to get this under control. Then one day we were all watching a movie and for some strange reason, my wife was super affectionate. It caught me off guard because lately she hasn't been like that. She was all over me, kissing me and touching me, and I started to get suspicious again. I then asked her why she was being so nice all of a sudden, and she said that she just wanted to let me know that she loved me and that she was sorry for the way she had been acting. I told her it was okay and I hugged her. But in the back of my mind, I still wanted to know what had her so distracted from her family. I then watched as my wife went to the bathroom, and this time she left her phone on the coffee table. So I picked up her phone and saw that she had been texting somebody, but I couldn't see who it was because the text messages were deleted. So I put her phone back down on the coffee table. Later that night, we were intimate. It was the first time we were intimate in 3 months. But I still couldn't shake the feeling that something was up. The next day I asked her if she wanted to go on a date night and she said, yes. So I made reservations at a nice restaurant. During our date night, I brought up the topic of infidelity and she got quiet. So I flat out asked her if she was cheating on me, and she gave me this look and then asked me, why would I ask her that? I said, think about it for a second. I said we haven't been intimate in 3 months and you were distant, and then all of a sudden you are being affectionate again and you didn't communicate with me at all. She said she was just going through some things and that she was sorry for the way she had been acting. I told her it was okay and I forgave her, but I still wanted to know who she was texting. She then said it was nobody. I interrupted and said, yes, it was somebody. You don't text nobody. Then I said, never mind. Let's just enjoy the evening. And even after our wonderful evening together, my suspicions still didn't go away. Later in the week, I got the answer. I was looking for a buddy of mine, happened to be in another city, and he sent me a picture of my wife kissing another man. And I said, what the hell? I was furious. I knew it was her because he got lucky and got the name of the company she was working for on her shirt. I couldn't function after seeing that. I told my boss I needed to go home. I had an emergency and he let me go right away. When my wife got home, the kids were not home yet. As soon as she opened the door, I looked at her and said, what the hell is this? Her eyes got wide with her mouth wide open and asked me, where did I get the photo? I told her it doesn't matter. And she started to speak. I punched her, knocked her down, got in her face and called her all types of names. I slapped her again and she managed to call 911 and the cops came. I was arrested after that day. I spent a few days in jail before bonding out. My boss was surprised. I told him what happened and he said, don't worry, just try to get this behind you. He then says you have to set an example for your kids. And that's the most important thing. I contacted an attorney as soon as I got out of jail and filed for divorce. I was done. I couldn't believe she would do this to me. I gave her everything a few months later. We're in court and she's asking for alimony, child support, the house, the car and half of my 401k. I was like, what the hell? I told the judge everything that transpired. I found out she was cheating on me and she makes pretty good money being a top insurance representative for her company. So the judge looked over everything, but he did not award her alimony or any of my 401k, but she got the house and one of the cars. I didn't care at this point after the divorce hearing. All I wanted now was to be a good father to my kids who are not speaking to me at the moment, but they will in time. Everything is still traumatic for me. I had my parents move my things from the house, and of course the kids were upset, but they eventually found out what happened. My sentence for the domestic battery was 1 year probation, anger management class, and a $500 fine with court cost. As far as I'm concerned, the ex-wife is a ghost to me. I found out that the guy she was cheating with was the owner of the company she was working for. Rumor has it that his wife found out and is taking half of the company in their upcoming divorce settlement? I want to personally thank Tony for sharing my story. Please let these guys know, don't resort to violence. It almost cost me my job and my freedom. Now I am on probation for a year and my record is no longer clean. If I could do it all over again, I would have just tried to ruin her reputation and left.